Right now, today, someone close to you is actively planning to look you in the eye and lie to your face. You probably won't even notice. The reality is that the average person gets lied to about 200 times a single day. Your friends, your family, your employer, they are feeding you fake stories constantly. The reason we fall for this is simple. We ask terrible questions. When you rely on basic yes or no questions, you make it incredibly easy for people to hand you a fabricated story without any effort. But you can flip the script. By dropping those bad habits and adopting the chronological playbook used by professional detectives, you can spot the deception before they even finish talking. Phase 1 of the playbook doesn't start with an interrogation. It starts with setting up your target through silent observation. FBI agents call this the baseline trick. Before you apply any pressure, you sit back and watch how the person acts when they are completely relaxed. You note exactly how they sit, the way they move their hands, the natural pace of their voice. Locking in this normal mode gives you a custom secret code to read that specific individual. Without establishing this relaxed state first, you lack the context needed to identify the sudden behavioral shifts that indicate a lie. Once you have your baseline, you enter the attack phase. This requires you to permanently drop simple yes or no questions from your vocabulary. Instead, you deploy assumptive framing. This is a tactic where you phrase your question to assume the target already performed the action, forcing them to justify it rather than just denying it. Compare asking, "Did you stay out?" to asking, "What made you stay out late?" You aren't asking if they went out, you are assuming they did, and now they have to build a whole story to explain why. The exact millisecond you ask that question, you deploy the 5-second rule. You watch them like a hawk for exactly 5 seconds. During this tiny window, their brain is fighting its hardest to construct a believable fiction, which causes uncontrollable physical leaks. Look for these exact signs. They touch their face, they take an abnormally long pause, or they suddenly break eye contact. One sign on its own might mean nothing, but if you spot 2 or more of these specific leaks inside that strict 5-second window, the lie is confirmed before they even finish their sentence. When the conversation continues, listen closely to their vocabulary. Liars rely heavily on weak, wishy-washy words like maybe, probably, or I guess. They do this subconsciously to build a verbal escape route. If they can't say it with absolute confidence, they leave themselves a way out in case you challenge their story. When they realize the escape route isn't working, they will attempt a topic swap. Out of nowhere, they will derail the conversation to talk about something entirely trivial, like a funny video they just saw. This conversational pivot is the target literally pressing an emotional panic button to flee the rising stress of maintaining the lie. Your countermove is simple. Gently but firmly force the conversation right back to the original topic. Say something like, "We can talk about that later, but first tell me more about your night." Calmly dragging a liar back to the exact conversational terrain they just tried to escape maximizes their internal panic. Their discomfort exposes their guilt. The final phase of the playbook is aggressive. You actively break the target's brain by completely maxing out their cognitive load. First is the interrupt trick. Right in the middle of their story, you cut them off and ask a totally random question about a detail that happened before their timeline even started. Lying requires intense mental focus. By forcing them to juggle their fabricated narrative with a sudden new variable, you cause an immediate mental crash. They will either get confused or start spitting out a completely different story. Next, deploy the fake detail trap. Intentionally inject a false fact into the conversation, like saying you remember them mentioning it was raining that day, even though they never brought it up. A truth teller will instantly correct you, but a liar is terrified of confrontation. They will nervously adopt your fake detail directly into their story just to keep the conversation moving. Finally, deliver the knockout blow with the double-check trap. Wait 10 minutes, then ask them the exact same question in a slightly different way. Liars aren't tracking actual memories. They are tracking fabricated rules. Layering these 3 cognitive traps ensures that their fabricated narrative will collapse under the weight of its own inconsistencies. This visualizes the cognitive load difference between honesty and deception. Truth tellers recount genuine memories, leaving a clean path. Liars burn massive brain power managing a tangled, chaotic web of fake data. The playbook systematically overloads that fabricated web until the brain drops the act entirely. Just remember to combine these strict mechanical traps with your own natural gut instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. By understanding how to control the cognitive flow of a conversation, you stop being a victim of deception and become an active human lie detector. If you're ready to put this into practice, hit the like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which specific trap you are going to test out first.